Hi, I'm Sim from Heirloom Naturally. We grow old-fashioned vegetables and seeds in the field without chemicals in the glorious high country town of Mansfield, Victoria. And today I'm talking all things rhubarb. Now I know that rhubarb is a love-hate kind of a crop. You either love it or you hate it. And most of the time people hate it because, like broad beans, like Brussels sprouts, they've almost been force-fed it as a kid and force-fed pretty bland, stodgy, yucky rhubarb. And so they have this real aversion to rhubarb. But I absolutely love it. I think it's the most delicious crop, and I have it every morning with my porridge, and particularly during winter, I love stewed rhubarb. I will put my recipe for stewed rhubarb on my website so that you can have a look at how simple it is, and there's no added sugar in my version of stewed rhubarb, which I know that you will enjoy. So anyway, that's enough about how I cook rhubarb. I'm talking today about how we go about planting our rhubarb crowns, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to make sure that you have rhubarb throughout the seasons. My first most important tip is to grow a variety that will produce for you across the seasons. Now, most of us are used to hearing the fact that rhubarb will die down during winter. Now, I hear that and I go, it doesn't make sense, because winter is the time when I really want my rhubarb. I want it warmed, I want it stewed, I want that gorgeous vibrant colour that real rhubarb will give you when it is cooked. And this variety will do that. This variety is called Wakefield. It is from the 1800s and it's an old English variety, and it does produce across the seasons for us. And if you've been to my market stall, you'll know how fantastic it looks, and I will show you some of our crowns a little bit later in this video. So number one is to find a variety that will continue to produce for you throughout the seasons. And number two, and I think probably the most important thing, is to make sure that you feed your rhubarb. Now, I know that that probably sounds counterintuitive to many people. We're told that rhubarb is a robust plant, that it's almost unkillable, that it will survive the extremes of temperature. So therefore, I should be able to just pop it in the ground and just walk away and let it do its thing. But that's not the case. Rhubarb is a prolific feeder, so it does need very good quality soil before it is planted. And then after that, we feed our rhubarb plants about every 6 weeks across the seasons. We use a organic fertiliser, so you can use whatever variety of fertiliser that you like. You can liquid feed it if you are that way inclined. But do make sure that you feed your rhubarb crowns to make sure that you continually get lovely, thick, juicy stems. It's the most common question that I get: why isn't my rhubarb producing? And the first question that I always ask is, when was the last time that you fed it? 98% of the time the answer that I get is, do I need to feed it? Or no, I haven't. Never. So make sure that you feed your rhubarb crowns, and you'll be surprised at the production that you'll receive from that crown. Now, our crowns are in the ground for at least 2 to 3 years before they need to be divided up. So make sure that your soil is well prepared. Now, there's a number of videos that I've talked about our soil here at Heirloom Naturally. It is an ongoing process of building living soil, but make sure that you have lovely friable soil that has compost added, and if you need to, some fertiliser added as well, some minerals, rock dust, those kinds of things. Anything that is going to assist the microbes and the worms and all of the lovely soil biology to feed your plants. Because of course you know that if you have healthy soil, you have healthy plants, and you have a healthy you, the most important thing in life. Okay, so let's get on to showing you how we go about planting our rhubarb crowns. So here is one of our Wakefield crowns, and I have been harvesting pretty strongly from this crown, but you can see that it's still producing really well. Lovely new leaves, new shoots, And of course, the most important thing are those stems that we want to be eating. So as I said, it is mid-August, and you can see that our rhubarb crowns continue to produce throughout the year. So I'm not going to divide this one because this is one that I only divided last season, but I am going to divide another one for you and show you how we go about planting those crowns. Okay, so this is a space that we are going to be planting our crowns into, and you can see that the soil here is lovely and friable. I have given a little bit of a dig just to loosen up this space here, but we are no-till, so we haven't turned the soil or anything like that. We've really just broken it up so that it is ready to receive that crown. Now I have 3 different crowns here that we can use. That one has 2 lovely growing points on it. Obviously this one here that you can see fairly clearly, and then there's another one over on this side. So lovely robust crown, and there's actually another bit underneath there as well that will pop out the side once it is planted. Option number 2, again another couple of lovely growing points on that rhubarb crown. And even this smaller one, and in fact you can go smaller again if you get rhubarb crowns through mail order. You'll probably notice just how tiny some of those crowns are that you can get through the post, and they will over time size up for you. They might take a little bit longer than ones these size. We tend to sell ours that are this size just so that they get established quickly on in the season for you. But as long as they have growing tips on them, and you can see another one there, as long as they have those, then you're in business. Okay, so in terms of planting them, if we were to take this one and plant it, I'll just pop it down so that I can change the angle. What you want to do is to plant it so that the soil level is just at the base of that growing tip. If you put it in below, which is probably the thing that most people would think to do, this crown is likely to rot. So what we want to do is to have it so that it's at that soil level, so that the tip is just sitting above that soil level, and then it really has the best chance at life. And really, it's as simple as making a bit of a hole, getting that growing tip sitting upright. Oops. Better move the camera around for you, and then simply putting the soil around and tapping it down. Now you will note that on that crown there was another smaller growing point which is now below the ground. That is fine. That will find its way out of the soil and will make its way up to life, but it is important that that central growing tip on your crown is just above soil level. And really all that we'll do at this point is to give it a bit of a water, and then we will cover it with some straw. We do leave that growing tip exposed, so the straw will just go around the outside just to give it a little bit of mulch. And hey presto, this time next season we will be harvesting delicious Wakefield rhubarb from this crown. Spacing is at about 1 metre, and that's because they do size up pretty generously. If I just pan up here, and you can see, whoops, sorry about that, you can see just how big that rhubarb crown is there. That is almost ready to be divided. In fact, I might even do that later on today. So they do get quite large. So you will need to give them about 1 metre by 1 metre spacing if you want them to be able to produce for you for the next 2 to 3 years at least. Eat well, stay well.